all my fellow trolls and ghouls and goblins. We are once again in the Palace of Hardcore, the land of opiate destruction. I always have a tough time trying to come up with new things to call our layer of debauchery. But once again, we are back. We've got an excellent show for you tonight. We've had a great week. It was fun. It was exciting. Great wrestling. Great geeky stuff. We've got some weird stuff to talk about today. But as always, we have the man, the myth, the legend. Hambone is with us.
Oh, hi, guys. I'm back.
Those cheeks, every time they appear through my doorway.
I'm very cherubic.
Even when I'm mad at you, I become happy for some reason.
I told you, I'm little and cute.
And I'm mad at you most of the time.
I know.
And
you
it's
can't
just
stay mad at me.
You can't. It's horrible.
You're
It's the
adorable.
worst. It's the worst.
Oh, thanks, George.
Just want to let you know that. We're glad to have you back. As always, the master of the cocktail, the eliminator of all things not cool, Hambone, is here.
That's me, yo.
But returning from the darkness, from birth, out of the loins of a demon mistress, founder of the Satan's Bible fan club, once again,
Great to be back.
Yo, Ken Lucas, welcome back to the show.
It's been a while. Thank you.
Well, you said you'd be back after Monster Mania, so I held you up to that.
You did.
Because, it's as much as I love having Harvey on here, we had some technical difficulties and couldn't get him on today.
Know.
And it's always nice to have two people I can stare at. Sometimes three people I can stare at.
I just like looking at you. I don't really like looking at Hambone.
I told you we could have got a William Shatner cut out, but you don't listen.
He doesn't look like Winter. Well, no, I actually saw.
Does it matter?
Well,
Could have got a Halloween mask.
yeah, there was actually someone else I saw recently that it looked like, but I'm blanking right now. It's probably a bad thing that I shouldn't probably say, but I don't remember, so it doesn't matter
take your
either way.
Mike Patton comment from the last time. I was
Okay,
on.
fine.
Yeah,
you are.
usually if that's the course you're going down, George, you should stop now.
You
I'll
would
take John Waters, too.
You would be Mike Patton if he had like he had the twin that died on the side, and it was like
The one that came off the hip.
No, for Mike Patton, the ugly Mike Patton, we'd have Ken. Sorry, I love Mike Patton, but he is the sexiest motherfucker to come out of like the early '90s grunge metal
He's
scene.
a good-looking man.
Ken is not.
George.
I'm sorry. I gotta be honest. I mean, it's
Wow.
like he's just not Mike Patton.
Right
I
out
must
the
have been.
gate.
I must have been tired. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
The Real Talk George is in the house tonight.
But I'm very handsome, so
Do you listen to the
That's
crickets? Listen to the crickets.
No, literally, there's crickets outside. Someone
There's
was mowing
crickets.
the lawn a minute ago.
It is so nice outside that I had to open up the windows, but I also realized that doing that with really hot mics is why we're going to move into the basement very soon.
Eventually.
I gotta buy more mic stands that we gotta buy longer cable and longer headphone cables that you need to remember to bring.
I brought my headphones tonight.
I know, because I remember to nudge you about it.
You reminded me at the right hour.
We are going to move back into the studio, into the basement,
Back to
into the
Headhunters
tiki
Lounge.
room. We're going to go back on video, just not as cleaned up because this is Dad George now.
Yep, you're in
you
dad
can't-
mode.
I wear the same Descendants shirt every fucking week.
Yeah.
Pretty much this, the Coffin Cat shirt, maybe the Dwarves or Turbo AC shirt. That's all you're getting.
Are you going back to getting hammered on?
No, we can't do that. We realized those episodes were actually kind of bad. There was no way around it.
I think if we edited them together, we probably, of 30 episodes, we probably get like 3 really.
But they're really funny.
They're funny.
They're
They're
really,
wasted.
really funny.
Hell, yeah.
We're, like,
some of
badly
that
drunk.
I mean, there is some stuff. I've actually thought of going back for our episode like 101
there's a blooper reel there,
and doing a
yeah.
greatest hits episode of just the silly stuff we've done. I mean, just Hambone getting that disease, that rare Benjamin Buttons
Oh, yeah,
disease.
that was
Jesus Christ,
great.
don't call that back.
I mean, that was that.
Terrible.
Dial
that-
Swede.
There was
Dial Swede was good.
That was one of the most popular. Dial of Swede was possibly the best thing I've done.
I think Dial of Swede was like our peak, and it's been all downhill from there.
because we had Matt Hardy Halloween after that.
Yeah,
we
we
had
did.
Papa
Marilyn
Emeritus was on there.
Yes, we had Papa Emeritus was
Right,
after
right,
that.
right.
No,
I don't remember.
Dial of
There's a
Swede was
lot of good
actually.
ones.
Dial of
We
Swede
drank so much,
was
I don't remember.
Only episode 12. That was only episode 12.
Man.
Why I remember these things, I have no
And
idea.
what's crazy, that's 68 episodes, 60, almost 70 episodes ago.
That was a long, long time ago. This is episode 82.
70.
And we are outside. We're clearly taping with the cicadas in the woods. This is crazy that I could hear All right.
That's how you know we're
That's the
doing
faucet.
live.
This week, me and Hambone and a bunch of other weirdos went to see NXT Takeover live. That was an amazing wrestling adventure. This year, luckily, Gen Con didn't fall on SummerSlam weekend, so I dragged Hambone's ass.
Thank
he was
God.
kicking and screaming,
He's
like,
not
I
kicking
don't
and
want to
screaming.
go. I don't want to go. And I'm like, you must go. We must get the poster. And he's like, all right, for the poster, we will do this. And it was excellent. You
We
got
only
us-
went for the poster, but then we stayed for the matches.
got us a very weird, different seat that I've never sat in before, and I still am like confused.
Time
by
out. All you do is complain about this fucking seat. It was a great seat.
It was a great seat.
It was a great.
It
like,
was.
"Oh,
ju-
you get
It
the
was.
turnbuckles there.
It was just.
Angle."
I have not experienced wrestling from that angle before. The ref.
We had great seats.
The ref
Don
stands.
looked like we had great seats.
Ref stands in the weirdest spot. He's always in the back right corner, hard cam. And I never knew that before until he got in the way of every cool spot during the thing.
He did not get in the way of every cool spot in the
Nothing
thing.
to do with you.
I got good
I
seats.
appreciate the good seats.
So you
did
were
a
in the
great
ref's
job.
corner.
I'm a ref's corner. I'm a ref's corner.
No, I'm saying that's where you guys are sitting
Yeah.
facing the ref's corner.
Yes.
Yeah, which
And-
is like that right hand corner
Exactly.
on camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every time
And sometimes he's on left, but mostly on right.
and I felt bad because Hambo was trying to take videotape of some cool moves, but because of the
I
angle
got everything
he
I
was
wanted
at,
out of Dexter Jackson. I got the elbow. I got the flippy dippy. I got the whole thing.
the flippy
Well, my
dippy.
former seat that I sold on StubHub and definitely covered my money for looked great from what Don
No,
photographed.
so Don was sitting with us.
Oh, all right.
You were. That was the George. Yes,
fine.
right. No, Don. We don't know where Don was going to be sitting.
Yeah, I don't know where-
Don's
I don't
seats
know.
look great. He was
Yeah.
also at a corner.
No, he got Allison's ticket. There was a lot of hot swapping going on.
Oh.
Anyway, we're going to talk more about NXT TakeOver. We are going to talk to Ken, who has returned from Monster Mania, to find out what the hell a Monster Mania is. We are going to talk about the other Lord of Darkness, Marilyn Manson, and his complete
I think he's retired.
meltdowning. Retired or retarded?
Both.
It is kind of sad where he's heading right now. And our lovely friend Hambone went and saw the Alkaline Trio, so we're going to continue the darkness and
Oh, yeah.
talk about what it was like for Hambone to
It's
go
like light
deep,
darkness.
deep into
like dusk.
It's like dusk.
They
not-
do
not
a
enough
great
full
cover
darkness.
of the Misfits Halloween.
They also
Yeah.
do a great cover of Metro by a band whose name is
Berlin.
Berlin.
They didn't play either.
No.
80s band.
Then we're going to talk about other things that maybe we'll throw in there. But first, I wanted to, for the first time ever, we're going to talk about wrestling first because we were live.
No drink?
No, fuck the cocktail. I am the worst host
Every
in the
time.
world.
Every time.
I'm the worst. You need a bun to zap me.
I'm gonna get a taser next
Did I
time.
tell you how good those seats were that you got us?
Thank you.
They were wonderful seats.
You're welcome.
I heard the reference blocking everything.
And we were at a weird angle, but it's not Hambone's fault. They were great seats.
That's right.
Turnbuckle.
They were great seats.
So the drink this week is the Strip and Go Naked. Now this is circa 1963, served in an all tiki restaurateur Dean Short's Arizona restaurants. So in all these restaurants they were serving there, the islands in the Phoenix and the Pago Pago, Con Tiki, and Port of Call, Tucson. So what this drink is, it's another gin-based tiki drink. So you have 3/4 of an ounce of orange juice, an ounce of fresh lime juice, an ounce of dry gin, an ounce of vodka, 5 ounces of lager beer chilled, and a 1/4 ounce of grenadine. So this is
wait. There's beer in
there's
this cocktail?
beer in this one. This one's a little bit different. So you stir vigorously with ice cubes until well chilled, and then pour unstrained into a double old-fashioned glass. So it's like a double rocks glass. So this is, it's almost kind of like if you go to Chevy's and you get a Bulldog, which is the margarita with the beer inside of it. Similar thing, except this has gin, vodka, and orange juice.
So Bruno, the incredibly extra cat, has finally found a home. I know you guys were all worried about Bruno. He was a 25-pound cat. He loves to stand on his hind legs. He won't eat unless you pet him. He refuses to drink water if it's next to his food bowl, and he gets upset if you touch his belly. He finally found a home, according to Vice. There was a lot of people who really wanted to give him love, but Bruno found love, and Bruno is now safe.
Bruno sounds high maintenance.
Now that was a segue.
I know. I think that everyone needs to know that Bruno is now happy and at a home.
And that Hambo's drink sucked.
I loved Hambo's drink, but I don't. There's beer in it. I don't consider it a real cocktail.
Okay.
Well,
I'm
there you go.
sorry. I'm violently against cocktails that
have
are
beer in
like
it.
have beer in it.
Okay.
So I'm not a beer. I've realized in my old age, I think we may have talked about in an old drunken episode, that beer to me just doesn't work.
No.
Now, given when I was younger, cider was not cool to drink. Once I realized.
When you were younger, there was like one kind of cider, and that was it.
Do you remember which one?
Magners.
Exactly.
That's
and
it.
I I wanted to drink it, but I was made fun of, and I had to suck it up and drink beer.
Do you remember how people used to drink the Magners though?
No, orange
On ice.
On ice with ice.
They would get a pint glass, they'd fill it with ice, and they'd pour the Magners in there. It was the weirdest fucking thing. It's like, why would you water down cider?
I don't know, because they thought it was apple juice.
I guess.
Even though I would never probably use ice in apple juice either. I also hate when I get ice in my orange juice.
Why would you get ice in your orange juice?
Yeah, that's
No,
weird.
they offer, like, some places give
do
it to you.
Yeah.
On an airplane.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
they,
ice
on
on
an
the apple
airplane.
juice isn't
that's how they,
bad, but
that's
ice
how they
in the
give you.
orange juice is weird.
That's their way of giving you less orange juice.
I think so. Or yeah, that's why. But then again, you sometimes get the nice flight attendants when you're towards the back. Give you the whole can of Coke.
Love them.
They're my favorite ones. So NXT, we were there.
Amazing.
Ken watched from home. Not that was a bad thing.
I
but
watched after the
you
fact.
watched.
I was at Monster Mania.
We should talk a little bit just about. We don't need to talk about the show. That's different. We're not. We usually don't do the follow-up episodes. But what was your experience like? This is your second NXT takeover. Did you? What was the feeling like? What did you like? What was in the cockles of your cockles?
Well, first off, the seats are great. It was awesome. I got to see every match that I wanted to see. I got to see almost every character from NXT that I wanted to see there. And the place was hot. The place was a lot hotter, and they sold more tickets for this one than they did in the past, because in the past they'd black out the top. They'd only sell so high, but this time we were floor to ceiling.
So last year it was Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Roode. So there was a lot of blacking out last year.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty much. I'd say there was a quarter of the place empty up on top on the other side. It was really sad. This time it definitely looked like a sellout, at least close to it.
They were packed floor to ceiling. And if it didn't sell out, you're right, it was close to it. It was Gargano and Ciampa, which is, I think, the fourth pay-per-view they've headlined.
Maybe
Third or fourth, easily.
Third, yeah.
And they brought it. Mm-hmm. And it's a funny thing, because our friends were like, well, we've kind of seen this match like so many times. However, this one actually was different than the matches they did before, had a different finish, had a lot of different spots in it, and they left it all in the ring. So I was stoked about that. I was also stoked to see... out of the ring. I was also stoked to see Ricochet up close and personal, and Adam Cole, which I thought was a excellent match.
Ricochet is so fluid, it is just silly. When you see him on TV, they do a lot of jump cuts, they do a lot of zoom in, zoom out, to try to make his stuff look more, faster. The fact is, when you see him in person, he looks like an Olympic level gymnast.
Oh, he's got to be an Olympic level gymnast. What old superstar do you think is closest to Ricochet?
Old,
not of this current roster generation.
I
Rey
can't.
Mysterio,
Jeff Hardy, but he's still there. I mean, there's very few. Nobody really.
There's elements of Snook in there. There's definitely more Rey Mysterio than anything.
But I really wouldn't consider that era didn't have this type of gymnastic performance. Oh, the closest is Johnny Nitro. I think he was the first to ever be like that.
Yeah, John Morrison.
Yeah.
Johnny Morrison, Johnny Nitro, Johnny
Impact.
I mean, you could
Impact,
go though
whatever he's
into
in.
like Jushin Liger and in any high flyer.
Johnny Stop and
also.
Shop.
But so that's my point. I don't think you really. I think this is really. He's reinvented how wrestling is
He
done.
has a hybrid cruiserweight style with like heavyweight moves.
Based heavily off of the Japanese and Lucha Libre style of wrestling. In WWE, no, I can't think of anybody else.
I was also pretty high on, we've definitely seen the Shayna Baszler Kairi Sane match a bunch of times, but the match was awesome. And Kairi Sane is definitely a different Kairi Sane than when she started. Where, I agree. In the beginning with the Mae Young Classic, I definitely felt as if Shayna Baszler should have won the Mae Young Classic, but they went with Kairi Sane. I feel like Kairi Sane's finally earned it, and she brought it, and she was a showstopper in Brooklyn.
So I want to talk more about the actual event itself. They swerved us big time by opening the doors at 5:30 and starting it at 6:30. For those of us who bought our tickets, excellent tickets,
thank you,
on StubHub, we didn't get the notification that they bumped the time back by 1 hour.
No, not at all.
And let me tell you how weird it was. If we hadn't been there an hour early so I can get that poster, we would have been screwed, because it started at 6:25 with two dark matches, Bianca Belair returning against Deonna Purrazzo, and then an excellent Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson match.
Purrazzo,
I don't know.
It's Marty Scurll's girlfriend.
That means nothing to me, but I accept it. Well done, buddy. Still don't have any care. Pete Dunne versus Zach Gibson, though, amazing. Tore the house down. When it airs on TV, make sure you watch it. We won't spoil anything for you.
So the thing with the event was we got hip to the fact that they were opening up early. We got our poster. You got your posters.
Yep.
And as we're walking in, it's funny because you're walking down the street. They had like these little side store kiosks that are actually built on the Barclay Center for like it's like a pop-up shop. There was a SummerSlam shop, but they didn't really have any NXT stuff in there or NXT Takeover stuff in there. So then they also had their cart out front, their big
The
T-shirt wagon.
The trailer.
The trailer is the word I'm looking
Yes.
for. And they had several different spots inside, as they normally do, selling different merch. Like the main merch stand was always swarmed with people and the title belts and whatever. One thing that we did find out was they didn't have any women's sizes of any shirts there.
But that's not unusual.
It's not unusual. However,
We've encountered that numerous times.
You were at Asbury Park, weren't you?
I was at. But,
yeah, that was.
But what I'm saying is, now that you have the women's evolution happening,
You'd think.
and you have
You'd think.
essentially the co-main event is a title match for the women's title. You might come up off some women's sizes.
I know. Well, I mean,
And also, women are wrestling fans too, so maybe they want to get a shirt that fits them.
we thought the same thing when Asuka didn't have a shirt, and it's same because they sell them online. They do exist. It's not like they don't make them, but no, women do not get.
Leaving money on the table every time they go to.
And there were a lot of women and kids there.
So many women and kids. I mean, they have kids sizes, so why wouldn't you have women's sizes?
You know,
Dum.
you know what else I saw a lot of? Cosplay.
A lot of cosplay. I took a picture with the Rockers.
No, that was Tyler Breeze and Tyler
No,
Breeze.
they were the Rockers. They had rocker shirts on.
That was Tyler Breeze and Tyler Breeze.
You want to believe what you want to believe,
You
George.
post that photo and let us know.
I already posted the photo.
It's
It's the
Tyler Breeze.
Rockers.
It's Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
The girl was Sean. The guy was Marty.
Nope, I disagree with you. They were Tyler Breeze and Tyler Breeze.
I'm bringing it up right
They
now.
had the fluffy.
see
They had
that
the
photo.
fluffy. They had the fluffy boots on. You bringing it up here doesn't help because people can't see.
Well, I'm going to post it again, but I'm bringing it up for you to see, so you actually see that it is.
Fandango.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. The guy was Sean. The woman was Marty. Here, boom. The Rockers. Look at the T-shirt.
that's Young Buck's shirt.
It's a Young Buck shirt.
That's a Young Buck shirt. Anyway, I think Comic-Con definitely has influenced a lot of people.
The Rockers.
That's the Young Bucks.
And the guy who was Velveteen Dream was fantastic.
I actually thought it was Velveteen Dream.
The people were swarming for pictures. It's
Yeah.
like, why would he be out here before the match, you silly guys? We saw Velveteen Dreams. You saw your typical Stone Cold. You saw, a little bit of every character there. Not as much as I think you would see during like Monday Night Raw or SummerSlam itself, but people were definitely dressed up. I saw Macho Man.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see Macho Man and Hulk Hogan a lot because you have them in the front row sometimes.
Always in the front row.
But it was crazy. The long hair guy was there as always, but they put him more towards the side. It was very exciting. The one complaint I have is that, and I heard it from people. I haven't watched the full thing on TV yet. Was that they really lowered the sound on the crowd, and you could not hear
Fuck you, Champas.
Or just in general,
You could
the
hear
heat.
that on the.
Oh, could you hear it?
But,
Oh, yeah.
But I also was like the heat was not as incredible as it felt there.
The entire Barclay Center was chanting "Fuck you, Champa," including a 5 and 6 year old kid sitting in front of us with their dad, and the dad was shaking his head like, "No, dude, don't say that."
Well, I would have been with Don chanting "Psycho Killer."
But Don was chanting "Fuck you, Champa."
There was a point where I shushed Don down because he was too loud next to my ear. I actually didn't. I think he was
Shoulda
like,
wore headphones, dude.
And I think he was like, "You're killing the fun." I'm like, "I'm sorry. Can I switch seats with Hambone? Because my ears are."
I would have switched seats with you. We also had a bunch of dirtbags sitting across from us that were like chanting some really offensive stuff at the women who were wrestling.
Yeah, it was one of those sections.
That
It was
sucks.
Brooklyn. It's
Well, it's when you go to a wrestling show, it's always the best and the worst of fans. Like you have both sides of
the
it.
dredges of society.
And then people who are like just genuinely happy to be there and like want to have a good time.
Yeah. Well, I was excited. It was a great show, great seats. Thank you so much, Hambone.
You're welcome.
That was an excellent pay-per-view. The weekend itself, SummerSlam was great too. Raw last night was very good.
I heard you guys had the best view of the referee.
We had a great view of the referee's ass.
Dude, Charles Robinson has never looked so good.
Never looked so
Nice.
good. I am now aware of yes, that ref. I will
Golden
now.
Age.
I also it was a weird spot because we were kind of forced to sit catty corner, which was a little strange.
Yeah,
Again,
it's-
not bad. Just it's something different that I'd never experienced before. They had us on the side of the stage. If they had dropped the curtain down next to us, we could have seen gorilla position.
Which would have been awesome.
It was a weird, but we also had a great view of Ciampa and Gargano when they went up on the stage
Yeah.
because that's where we were located on like the side of one stage, just up a little bit.
Oh, so if I look on the video, I could see you guys.
Maybe I don't know. We're a little high,
Just look for the redhead.
high
It's
enough
done.
up, high enough up where it might have been tough to see. I don't know how bright they made the crowd,
Yeah.
but it was just I never sat on that particular angle at that particular side. Also to realize the ring isn't kind of centered in the arena; it's kind of pushed more towards the front, which is a little odd. But it was great. Like the the height was perfect.
We actually still didn't pull up the trapdoor for Velveteen Dream to make the entrance.
That's cool.
Like he ran out and like kind of just shimmied
Dropped
his way
into
in.
it.
Where did George and the girls sit? Where were
So they were
facing?
directly across from us. So if we were looking at the
So
thing,
you
they were at
by
our
the stage. They were on the other side.
they were on the other side. So they were at our 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
They were where we
section
sat
above
last
us.
year.
What?
They were where we sat last year, a little bit higher up.
Oh, all right, cool.
So yeah, they had
They had great seats too.
their ref wasn't in front of their face.
Yeah, no, they had probably better seats.
It depends on what you consider it too. Like, also people would argue that if you're facing like one way, it's like they're not performing for you;
Yeah,
they're performing
because
for the
they're for the
camera.
camera.
So it's a different way to think about it. Live television. Live wrestling is very strange. When you come down to it, you never realize until you sit in a different position
Right.
that everything
Yeah,
is
like
shot for
the
TV.
Asbury show doesn't matter where you sit; it's a good show. But when you're at a pay-per-view television event, you got to sit hard camera.
It's
nothing.
very interesting. It's you notice that everything they do, everything they pander, everything they do outside the ring is done for that hard camera. So even though you have a good seat, like height-wise, everything's done in a particular area.
Yeah, someone did a move in one of the matches. I don't remember if it was like Roddy Strong in a tag team match where you could tell he could tell his back was towards the camera, and he moved and did the move on like the opposite rope to do it in front of get it in the hard camera.
Just stuff you never think about.
Yeah.
Right.
And unless you have OCD and your name's George. Anyway, Monster Mania. You were in Cherry
Yes.
Hill, New Jersey, the scariest place on earth, from what I hear.
I mean, it's right near Camden, so it could be pretty terrifying if you make a wrong
I
turn.
believe it's actually the hometown of one Christine Goldfarb, Mrs. Goldfarb, Lady
Really?
Goldfarb.
So
Cherry
it should
Hill?
be the happiest
Yeah,
place.
that's what I hear. So, but it's the home of Monster Mania. What was Monster Mania?
Monster Mania is a horror convention.
Like Chiller?
Yeah, like Chiller. They've done. This was their 40th.
41st? Or is
No,
it
this is the
41st coming up?
41st coming up. This was their number 40. It's been going on for well over 10 years. To me, Monster Mania is like when Chiller changed and suddenly became like old TV. This thing was born because it was the other people that said, you know what, we want a horror show again. So they got all the big horror names there.
Roger Elgin? Robert Elgin? I think Freddy Cougar was there.
England?
England?
Robert England.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I only
You're
know.
thinking
I
of Michael Elgin, which is a wrestler.
Yeah, I was actually only thinking of him from V.
Different kind of nightmare.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Robert England was there. Nick Castle, who played Michael Myers in the first Halloween, the current coming out Halloween. They also had Kane Hodder in the Jason makeup doing photo ops. They had Sid Haig and Bill Moseley from the House of Thousand Corpses, and they did photo op and makeups. And so it's like a big fun event. You got vendors, you got all these stars, and that's what it is. But to me, Monster Mania is just like it's of all the horror shows, and I've done quite a few now. It's the funnest.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done like Horror Hound in Indianapolis. I'd like to do that, or Blobfest in Ohio, or Texas Frightmare. I'd like to do those shows and see how they compare. But to me, Monster Mania is the funnest. I'd like to shout out my buddies at Nerd Chamber and Studio Cataween. They had some really cool merch this time around, and the boys at the Living Corpse crew, the comic book team.
So you are now in gangs, I see.
Oh, yeah,
you leave the podcast for 4 weeks and
We,
you've joined gangs.
We had quite a crew in the corner.
You're like
in
sitting
our corner
around
at Monster Mania.
picking on, like,
we had a musicians. We had a
cosplay
goth
people.
musicians. I was next door to goth metal musicians. We had the Living Corpse crew, which they pretty much run the room. Like they've been doing it for 10 years. They built their comic on the foundation of almost Monster Mania. I was next to Nanny Cakes, which had delicious cupcakes.
Nanny cakes.
Yes, and French macaroons.
Did you like lean over? Go, I'll take care of your nanny cakes.
They were married.
Oh,
I
sorry.
didn't want to like. That's,
Hey, Nanny
that's not my
Cakes.
style. I
don't
go
know.
there to work.
I don't know
anyway.
what your style is, Ken.
Then we had
don't know
my
much
two
about
friends, and then a lot of cool people in our room.
So
You had a
it's-
question? Yeah.
It's been like what 7 years that since Chiller switched over to TV, right? Because I want.
Wait, Chiller's
think
not
it's longer.
I don't remember it ever not being TV.
Well, there was a point.
So the times, they started in the Rothman Center, which is Fairleigh Dickinson's like a center where they do events. That's where
Right.
they for a while a lot of shows like toy shows were hosted in Rothman Center.
Right.
My dad and I used to go to a military show there, and they did a few shows there and then moved it directly to the Hilton. And all those shows, the Hilton and then the Sheridan, which
So
was its final Rutherford
Meadowlands.
resting place.
Because that's when I remember, like when they first moved up to Parsippany.
Yes.
That's like
That's
maybe
when it started going
split and to go to TV.
We're going to do all old TV stars. Now, yeah, you're right. At the Sheridan shows, yeah, they had TV stars. They had wrestlers. They had horror people.
ECW.
But
all the ECW guys.
the Hilton and the Sheridan shows are still seem focused on that underground horror. They had
Right.
horror scream queens there. They had people making movies. They had guys making fangs. They had people selling model kits. It was still a lot of bootleggers.
Right.
It was still the underground scene. And
Yeah.
then when they went to Parsippany, it's like it changed. It's like it became a totally different show.
Well,
You ask anybody.
it wanted to be Comic-Con.
Yeah, but then it's only autographs, and it's like very few vendors. That's all it is. It's only autographs.
And that's what it was. It was probably about 10 years ago because I
And
remember.
it was all yeah, Henry Winkler's great. Like, get his autograph, but
I don't need to see the Fonz at a horror
at a horror
convention.
convention.
at a supposed.
Yeah, I think the year it kind of fully turned was the year they were getting the people from Jaws over there to sign things.
Yeah.
Like that was the nail. Where from every year after that, it was like, oh, it's going to be more autographs. And when I went in there one year, it was just there were so many lines. Like you couldn't even get into the vendor room because you had to cross through all these lines for people like waiting to get like Ed O'Neill's signature and like whoever else in the Parsippany. Yeah. So that's why I know a lot of people who used to go to Chiller. And they went every year, like for like 20 years. They were going.
Also, their move to Parsippany pissed off some of their old vendors from New York, from
Exactly.
PA,
It's a lot further to go.
from Connecticut, and they didn't care.
Yeah.
So regardless,
But it was
Chiller is still going on, and I respect what they do, but there's nothing will ever compare to the Hilton shows. More than the Sheridan shows. The Hilton shows were beyond the best HorrorCon shows I had ever gone to for a number of years. But Sheridan shows are great. Still had a fun time. I met Piper there.
Of course, it's still
Can't really go wrong.
fun with that. But yeah, that was the big turn. That was when Monster Mania,
But,
I think, really started picking up some steam. Because people were like, fuck it, I'll drive to Cherry Hill.
And you know what? If
get what I
you're in
want.
Jersey, go to Monster Mania. It's a fun show. It was a 3-day show. I can't believe they charge like a ton at the door, but you're probably looking at $30 to $50 a day.
Yeah, you see, I have a problem. So I'm Mr. Curmudgeon. I'm Mr. Happy.
I know you're Mr.
Shut your mouth, bitch.
Wow.
Happy.
Buy me dinner if you're going to talk dirty to me,
Happy.
George.
Happy.
I buy you dinner. We don't really do dinner.
We don't
often.
ever do dinner.
Brunch. I do brunch. I
Brunch.
buy you brunch occasionally.
You don't want to pay the door.
Well, I don't like paying the door at events where I then have to pay for everything
But then,
there.
like, how do you do a Comic-Con, which is like even more money?
But Comic-Con has panels. Comic-Con has it has access to things you can't.
Monster Mania has that too.
yeah, I mean, which if you do a 3-day pass,
Yeah.
I'm complaining more about Chiller.
Well, I mean,
Chiller
That's why I
used to
stopped
have
going to
that
Chiller.
stuff. They don't
but
really do it
every Chiller always used to charge to get in. There was always a fee to get in the door.
It was cheap for a long time.
Inexpensive
It's
for a long time.
Not cheap anymore.
Well,
No.
but that's every convention. The interesting thing is I'm going to All In next week. So they had like high end passes. Like I got the platinum, they had gold, silver pass, whatever. But they're doing day of show passes. If you just want to go to the convention, it's $20.
That's good.
$20 a day.
That's good.
And you know what? Honestly, having never been there and having it being their first one, I don't know if it's going to be something that if you're not going to all the different panels and things, it's going to be, I need to go every single day. That said, if you only want to go to one day, you could probably go see everyone you want to see and sneak and get into some of those panels because they sell the tickets first, and then if they're open, you could just kind of go in to see the panels and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's cool.
So yeah, but I mean, I understand like that's business now. If you want to go to a convention, do the Walker Stalker Con down in the Meadowlands. I think is like $35 a day to
all
get
of
in.
them are.
But you need to give people something worth the money.
Right.
And that's the problem I find too often. It's not like that Strange Con that we're doing at the Wellmont where the guys from the Aquarian / Weird New Jersey
Strange
put
Exchange.
on. Strange Exchange. It was like $20 to get in, and it was like candles.
Was it really $20?
Yeah,
to
it was
get
pretty
in?
bad.
Yeah, I know a lot of vendors that do it, and it's hit or miss for vendors when you're like working that side of the coin and you're depending on it as pay. It's like a lot of these shows, you're hoping, especially when you hear it's someone established, like those guys are from Weird
Right.
New Jersey, or Ryan Matthew Cohen from the Oddity Show, like those people, they host their events too, and you hope to God like they're going to bring people in. Now they do. Those people bring people in, but then you do a lot of shows from that vendor angle that they don't. Luckily, Monster Mania is a show that brings people in. Chiller, I've thought about doing Chiller. It's very expensive to get a table at Chiller. It's not cheap at all.
No,
it's like in the
never been.
$400 range
Yeah.
at this point, just for a 6-foot table for 3 days. But if you have product that that people want, you could stand to make a lot of money because they get people through the doors.
George, what do you think is a fair price to pay to go into something like that? Like if you're just a casual fan wanting to go and check it out.
So look at the punk rock flea market.
Right.
Punk rock flea market, I think it's either $3 or $5, and they charge that because they don't want the homeless people in Trenton to go in.
And that's understandable.
It's a giant flea market. It's a flea market. It's vending, and I find too often these things are flea markets masquerading as cons.
Yes.
Right.
And then it's just the only one conned is me.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
the vendors.
Like imagine. So our great friend Stu does the Geek Flea, amazing event every year. He's in charge of dime for you to get in.
Nope.
And you go see vending. I've seen things like Geek Flea where they charge you to get in.
Well, that's it's funny because that's why I stopped going to Toy Con, because he started charging like $15 to get
They
in.
charge a lot to get in.
And it was like, what am I getting for? I'm going to look and maybe buy some toys. Like I don't.
But, even vendors get pissed off about that because it chases people away.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause
suddenly no one wants to go.
I used to go to every one, and it was like $5 at first. I'm like, okay, I understand. Like $5 to get in the door, that's fine, that's fair. Even like $10, I could kind of see $10 because I look at it like I'm going to go to a bar, I'm going to go see a band, I'm going to pay $10, I'm going to be there for a bunch of hours. But like $15 to go into like the Wayne Firehouse show was like what?
$5, I think.
It's like
Wayne
it's $5 to get in the Wayne Toy Show. You get the same vendors
the record
there.
show was $5 to get in.
Like it's just not juice isn't worth the squeeze.
I just feel like none of that really deserves money to get in. I think it should be a split of the vend, or not the vend, but like of the tables.
The Wayne the Firehouse, I get. Like,
Right.
I mean, they sponsor the record show there for years. Like, you're
course.
donating to the firemen, so that
That's
I
cool.
don't. I
All right,
don't
look,
mind.
I'm fine
But
with
I get it when they're
charity.
holding it in just a hall, and it's like they're masquerading it like, oh, we got one artist here that's maybe did a comic book, and
Zap Comic Con
everybody
was like
else
$6, and that's fine. That's totally fair to me.
Yeah, and again, $5-6 I don't have a problem with. It's the ones that are charging
like 20, 30, 40, 50.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy for just a flea market, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's another comic convention they do down in Edison, and it's like $25 a day to get in, or like it's like $30 on Friday, $30 on Saturday, like $25 on
Well,
Sunday.
all those East Coast Comic Con,
That's what
Eternal
it is.
Con,
Yeah.
New Jersey Collectors Con, like all those cons charge like $15 to get in. For what though? It's just going to a promoter. He's already making money on tables. Like
Yeah.
you made your money. Your table money's covering your space money. So it's like
I paid like $90 for a 4-day pass to Gen Con,
Yeah.
which is pretty much an entire like
curious what those tables
major
went
part
for.
of a city. Like you've got like a quarter of downtown Indianapolis at your disposal for the $90. So like that's fine. Juice is worth the squeeze.
And if I'm right, when we got the 3-day passes to New York Comic Con, they were like $80 too.
yeah.
They were even cheaper in Gen Con, even though they don't have those anymore. Anyway, that's just me ranting. I think the Asbury Park Cat Festival was like $20 each, but at least we knew that was going
It's
to
going to
charity.
animals. It's going to help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally.
So there are times where I will pay, and I got to see DJ Brian Baker like on stage, which is just
How
amazing.
funny is that?
So weird at a cat festival.
And cats are just running around all nimbly bimbly.
So weird, so weird. There's sadly no cats running around.
Really?
No, it was very strange. There was really actually no cats.
But then
running
again, I
around.
think it's because they'd be peeing everywhere.
I don't know. It'd just be bad. It would smell really bad.
It would smell.
Do you know how
Yeah.
upset I get when they pee in here?
Oh,
Wait,
no,
there's
yeah.
plastic on all my furniture.
I know.
Zip plastic, like a custom-made
Nice.
zip plastic.
Every time I get up,
everything.
it sounds like I'm farting.
Every time you guys leave, I
That's
put
awesome.
on my plastic outfits when they pee on me. I actually recently installed a kitty door, and I'm so afraid when my cats won't go through the door, and I have to keep leaving the door open anyway, because I'm like, push the door. And she's like, pee. It's very frightening. It's very
Do
frightening.
you like when they pee on you? You made it sound like
no,
you put the rubber
no,
suit on so that they
only
pee
in
on
the
you.
shower. Only in the shower. I'm also kind of
No,
like
it's good. It's
weird
good
about
for athlete's foot.
Yeah, I've never done that. Never had athlete's
Jellyfoot
foot.
sting.
I don't go to gyms. I don't know what that's like. Let's talk about Marilyn Manson. Speaking about athlete's foot. So Marilyn Manson in the last year, I think he's released an album. He has earlier in this year, he tried to climb his giant gun prop,
And it fell on him.
and it fell on him, crushing him. Had to end the show early. That may have been Hammerstein Ballroom.
It was Hammerstein Ballroom.
Then he canceled the show in July because of sick. I don't know. And then on Saturday, he collapsed during the Rob Zombie show after getting a nasty case of heat poisoning.
There's also the point where he kind of melted down on stage like back in February, and he did like an all blues jam with his band for like 15 minutes instead of like playing the songs people paid to see.
Is the world over Marilyn Manson?
I mean, not for nothing.
For
I had
years.
this conversation with somebody at Monster Mania. It's
That's
like,
why you're here. I
Yeah,
figured you'd
I
be
know.
the perfect
It's
person
like,
to talk about.
I've seen Marilyn Manson since, they were the spooky kids in Florida when I was going to school down there. It's like I've seen him plenty of times through the years. Now, there's 100 million different urban myths about this guy smoking someone's ashes to, chicken bones to all the weird
removing a rib so he can give himself a blowjob.
Well,
The
no,
fact
no,
that
that
he's
was-
Paul from the Wonder
That's
Years.
some real weird urban legends. But regardless,
We all
like,
say the same things about you too, Ken.
you know,
including no.
well,
I'm
the
just-
rib thing isn't true, but the chicken bones and the ashes might be. But regardless, it's like this guy obviously lived a very edgy, high life, and he is, not for nothing. He's a drug addict. The guy's probably done tons of cocaine at this point. And
I don't
he's
even think
probably
it's
in and
I don't
out
think
of it.
cocaine is the problem.
Well,
I think it might be a worse than cocaine.
It might be. It might be also a cocktail that he's doing that's really taking him down. But no one seems to be stepping in. Like, you don't see. Look, he kicked Twiggy out of the band because of the whole Hansel and Gretel thing, which is also something I was talking about. Is like, if you were in that scene, you knew that Twiggy was with that chick from the band, and you knew there was abuse going on. Like, I mean, I don't see how 20 years later suddenly that's, a topic. Is like everyone knew that was going on.
Because the
but-
late 90s were a different era, as
Yeah.
we've learned recently.
And I'm not saying what he did was right. Like, what he did was totally wrong. So he deserved to be kicked out. But who's going to save Manson? Who's he got?
Johnny.
Nobody.
So he does. He has Johnny Depp.
Who's also in like hell,
melting
like
down.
trouble.
Either of you two read the Rolling Stone interview?
Oh my God, the one his agent tried to beg them to kill because it just.
Why is he high during it?
He
He's a fucking
basically called up the editors of Rolling Stone. I guess there was a smear piece in some other magazine, like the Atlantic or the New Yorker or something, and he wanted to set the record straight.
He wanted to get in front of it, and he wanted to clear the air. And what he did was make it 100 times worse.
Yeah, he's like real life Jack Sparrow now.
He is 100% realized
a
Jack Sparrow.
$12,000 a day wine habit.
He is. So he makes $30 million a movie, and he's flat broke.
Yeah.
And it's insane because you think to yourself, I had this talk with our friend George Colazzo about how someone who makes $30 million a movie
Easily.
and does like $3 million a movie he can't fathom how you do it. And I go, easily, you buy an island.
Yeah.
People are stealing from him. At that point, your people are stealing
His
from you.
people
Like,
but his people are his sister. Like, they actually are like, no, we're not stealing from him. He buys islands.
Yeah, he
like, there's
does
a point
dumb
where you
things.
buy islands, any house he sees, he's like, oh, I'll buy it. It's $3 million. And he owns property tax on it. He also thinks that when he makes $30 million a movie, he thinks he gets $30 million a movie. He doesn't realize half of that goes to taxes, a quarter of that goes to agents.
No idea.
And, what he gets is a fraction of the $30 million
And
a
a
movie.
$12,000 a day wine habit.
Planes. He has planes. He is nuts. But I was listening to Marilyn Manson, and I think they mentioned in the Johnny Depp thing that they're friends. And that makes complete sense.
Of course.
Johnny Depp does think he's Jack Sparrow. If he's doing $12,000 a day on wine, he's doing plenty more
Yeah.
on.
That is 438,380,000.
No, it's 4,000,000.
380,000.
You said 438
I was
million.
stumbling because I'm looking at the number and I was flabbergasted.
Yes.
I think Johnny Depp is about to film the sequel to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He's reprising his role as Hunter S. Thompson, and Marilyn Manson is his new Dr. Gonzo.
My fear is that he is going to off himself like Hunter S. Thompson.
I think both of them are.
Marilyn Manson? I don't know.
They're
Marilyn
going to have
Manson.
a case full of
Marilyn,
mescaline and go on a road trip.
Marilyn Manson's ego is way too big. I don't know about Johnny Depp.
Here's the thing. So Johnny Depp has got enough problems just being Johnny Depp, right? But Johnny Depp's always he's been the bad boy. He's been like, the rock and roller. So he's just kind of living that character still way longer than he should. His marital problem, his best friend killed himself, River Phoenix died at his club, a lot of stuff that's been haunting him probably forever. Marilyn Manson is a weird thing because Marilyn Manson, Ken said, you grew up watching him at college with the Spooky Kids. You've seen him evolve from Marilyn Manson, the Spooky Kids, to Antichrist Superstar, right?
Totally.
And then the entire music landscape completely changed. Where do you go from there if you're Marilyn Manson?
Well, you have two choices.
You evolve, you go
No.
down the tubes.
You either become a junkie or you buy a washed-up wrestling federation.
Well, look, and it's working out pretty good for Billy
Kelly
Corgan.
isn't like a goth rocker.
No, but
Yeah.
he's from the same ilk.
But here's the thing. You look at Rob Zombie. Rob Zombie was like, all right, well, it's kind of over what I've been doing. I'm going to go make movies. And so he went and he started making movies. He stepped outside of his normal stuff. And his character was like, I'm just like this rock and roller dude. I got dreadlocks. I hang out with my friends. Like,
In all fairness, there's a great interview with Joe Rogan and Billy Corgan, and I believe it's fairly recent. And Billy Corgan admits at the end of the Pumpkins run, they were all four of them went nuts.
yeah.
So I mean,
Billy Corgan's been nuts.
yeah, he has been. You hear about his childhood; it's pretty crazy.
Alice and I went back and forth for a hot second on whether we should go see that tour. Like, I don't know whether I should have.
You know,
or
you
not.
could have gotten free tickets to
I
it
know.
if you had the
If I couldn't find the vouchers.
the vouchers when Ticketmaster fucked over everybody.
You see, there was two lawsuits. There was the Cats lawsuit and the other lawsuit. I have the vouchers from the first lawsuit. I don't have that were emailed.
Yeah.
But they actually sent us physical vouchers for the second batch, and those have numbers on them. And I don't know where the fuck I put
I couldn't
those.
find mine either. So here's the thing. So you look at Trent Reznor, right? You look at Trent Reznor.
There's a good example of the other side.
He evolved. He went and he was a certain way. I mean, he was never fully a character per se, like Marilyn Manson was. Like Marilyn Manson was just like on 11 cartoon character.
Well, he made the switch to soundtracks and won.
But he made the switch to
an Oscar.
soundtracks. He won an Oscar, but he also
Got off drugs?
got off drugs. And
drugs.
he continued to make music, but it's not. I mean, granted, Trent Reznor's not as kabuki-ish as say Marilyn Manson is.
But he was a weirdo
But he was a
back then.
weirdo back then, and like
Whereas Al Jurgensen pretty much pissed his life down the toilet.
right,
Broke
but
up Ministry,
the whole
reformed
nine.
it, lost his guitarist,
yeah,
just about lost himself.
it's a bad road. Like Marilyn Manson at one point, probably after Antichrist Superstar, could have started downshifting a little bit and just kind of working on music, kind of
Maybe made the switch to weed.
maybe made the switch to weed. He could have reimagined his character. He could have played it a little more straight, a little less kabuki-ish, and then kind of rode that out and had like a pretty decent career like Trent Reznor has. But he just never kind of gave up the ghost of being the gimmick.
Well, I mean, it's not only that. I think a lot of people fall to the pressures of being a rock star.
Right.
You know, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we don't know.
I think it's also the imagery of the rock star. So you were talking about Marilyn Manson. I always thought, and my favorite album by his is, and the only one I really like is Mechanical Animals, which I just, I don't love the drugs, but the drugs love me. I always thought he was playing a character, much like Kid Rock.
Yeah,
who
totally.
like at home I'm a dad. I play a character when I get on stage. But Marilyn Manson became his character.
Right. When you live the gimmick lives you.
Exactly. It's a very pro wrestling story. I didn't know Al Jurgensen had issues. I actually have never really followed that story.
So Al Jurgensen's like longtime heroin addict, and just about died a number of years ago. Had like 100 ulcers in his stomach, like really bad stuff, and was forced off all his bad habits, including heavy drinking and drug use, and then went to just smoking weed for a little bit, and then slowly went back to drinking wine, and then it was like, seemed like he's back to square one. But he's like a 30-plus year heroin user, got Ogre from Skinny Puppy and many other people kind of hooked on heroin, and that broke apart that whole dynamic between all those bands that was under that umbrella, which was like Ministry, Pigface. They did a project with Ian McKay, but all those guys suddenly none of them work with each other anymore.
Well, yeah,
or
could you
around each
imagine
other.
Ian McKay in a room full of heroin addicts? Hell no, I'm out of here.
Well, even like Paul Barker from Ministry, like he wants nothing to do with Jurgensen
Right.
anymore. Like that split that dynamic, and it was over.
But in that same regard, look how many people are dead from the grunge scene. I mean, if you think about it, it's
Yeah.
like Eddie Vedder is the only one still alive.
He's kind of like the last man standing.
Him and like Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
I guess we could say any member of Pearl Jam, but they're
Pretty much any
all
member
the
of
same
Pearl Jam.
person. We just call Eddie Vedder is representative of all members of Pearl Jam. We say Eddie Vedder, but it's actually he is the band.
Right.
Like you are also Mike McCready and Stone Gossard
when you look
and
at it though,
whoever
it's
drummer.
it's Eddie. We'll say it like this: Eddie Vedder's the last singer from the grunge era that's still alive because Layne Staley's dead, Chris Cornell's dead, Kurt Cobain's dead, Andrew Wood's dead,
Blind Melon.
the Shannon Hoon's dead. Like all the singers were the ones that went down the bad path.
Yeah, it's crazy. Mike Starr though.
But
there are some other
usually,
ones.
the focus is mostly on the lead singer. I mean,
singer.
in Kurt Cobain's case, he was the lead songwriter.
Yeah.
He was the lead everything. But
Yet we're stuck with Dave Grohl.
Hey man, he made a pretty decent career for himself.
he did actually.
The Foo Fighters are the most mediocre band ever. We need
They
to
are,
have.
but I give 'em credit.
You need to mark down an episode where we talk about the most mediocre bands, the C bands of all time. We get Greg Gethard on that
yeah.
show.
So that would be the antithesis of the punk rock canon would be like, what is the most mediocre band?
The most meh band.
Dude, we can do this.
It doesn't need to be a canon. It just needs to be an episode. I don't need to do a whole canon on it.
No. I think we could do every once a month the most meh band, and we break it. And we find the epitome of the meh band.
We already do once a month the punk canon. I think it's not hard. It's Foo Fighters and Pennywise. I mean, there's very hard to like. There's only so many the meh band.
All right, get Greg Gathering on the phone.
Hambone's
We'll do
favorite, Nickelback.
Nickelback is not the meh band. They're like one of the worst bands.
They're one of the worst bands.
There's a difference.
Meh is bearable.
There's C. You're a perfect average band.
Yeah.
Perfectly average band.
Comes on the radio, you bop your head to it, you kind of already know the words, you're fine. Nickelback comes on, you're aggressively changing that station.
And then I get murdered when I say Motorhead.
Don't ever say Motorhead.
Those are fighting words.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're a great band.
90% of their albums are meh.
Nah. You know what you're talking about.
Lemmy is
you
so
don't
much
like rock and roll.
Lemmy is so much better in the sum of Lemmy is better in the sum of his albums.
You don't like rock and roll.
Wow.
We just lost all our listeners.
Yeah. You think wrestling's killing this podcast. It's your hot takes on Lemmy.
I love Lemmy. I love Lemmy's. I love Motorhead's.
I love Motorhead.
I love Motorhead's greatest hits.
I
in their
wish
first
I got
album
to see them.
And their live. I mean, I've seen them many times,
I
but
wish I got to see them.
they're like Manowar. Once you get to a certain point, it's like all these albums sound the same.
Yeah, but so what?
A lot of
They're still
loincloths.
What?
A lot of loincloths.
Dude, Manowar. Oh, we should do an episode on them. Anyway, great conversation on the sadness, the sad side of the early 90s, mid 90s grunge aggro scene. Marilyn Manson, I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. It's not looking too good. Someone's got to go help him.
Give him 2 years.
I don't think he's going to kill himself. I think he is
No,
too
he's
big of
just
an
going
egomaniac.
to die from drug overdose or something.
And Johnny Depp, however, I don't know.
He's a Hollywood vampire.
I am waiting for someone in one of the major studios to have a come to Jesus talk with Johnny Depp. Because, like, hey, you're a cash
Ain't no
cow.
one gonna do that.
You can't die.
It's going to be Eagers or whatever his name, the guy from Disney.
Yeah, probably.
These guys all get replaced.
Yeah, no, Johnny Depp makes
They
studios
got
too
Richard
much money.
Grieco. Didn't they replace him in 21 Jump Street with Richard Grieco?
Okay, Ken, stop. Just stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
that's an argument. That's
so
an uphill battle. You ain't gonna win.
Yeah, Richard Grieco then went on to do absolutely nothing.
I know.
Nothing. Though he was my favorite guy on 21 Jump Street.
Wow.
He was. I loved him quite a bit. He was, Booker, right?
He was Grieco.
Booker.
Yep, he got a spin-off of 21 Jump Street. Booker.
Shit, there was a spinoff,
Yep,
wasn't there?
Booker.
I completely forgot about that. Anyway, speaking of, now it's moving on from the 90s to early 2000s. You went and saw the Alkaline Trio.
I did. It was awesome. I went to Brooklyn Steel. Now, Brooklyn Steel is a newer
Do you
venue.
always go see the Alkaline Trio? Is this your secret thing that you don't tell me unless I ask?
No, it's been years since I've seen the Alkaline Trio.
We're like, George went to Rise, I guess. I feel like I should go into see Alkaline Trio.
My buddy Ryan and his wife Alicia were like, hey, we have an extra ticket. Do you want to go see the Alkaline Trio
I
at
thought you
Brooklyn
went with
Steel?
Stephanie Caldwell.
No, I ended up finding out she went the night before. I didn't know she was going. I wasn't even really planning on going. And then they hit me up last minute, like, you want to go? And I'm like, absolutely. And my friend Johnny B came with us as well. Now, Brooklyn Steel is a newer venue in Brooklyn. I've actually seen a lot of shows there recently. Some of the best sound in the city. No place to park. There's not really a lot of parking around there, so we Ubered in, we Ubered out. And their opening acts were terrible. We got there for the opening acts.
Who were they?
I don't remember the names of them. One was like something, Thank You Pangea or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was garbage. The show was 16 and over. So we hung out by the back bar, which was great because...
I was going to ask you, what did this show...
Dude, Hambone was in his glory. 16 and over.
I know. I was going to go there,
no,
too.
it never even kind of crossed my path because we were in the bar area and they couldn't hang out there.
What was the general makeup of the crowd?
So it was actually the crowd down in front was pretty much filled with like younger kids.
Girls or boys?
50-50.
Okay.
50-50. The main crowd was older scenesters. And they're girls and guys hanging out together, a lot of couples at the Alkaline Trio hanging out, and we just hung out by the bar. And the set list was awesome. The set list was like super super good, and the show ended. It was a 16 and over show, so the show ended like kind of early. The main issue I had at the night was trying to get home because it was a crazy storm.
Yes. There was that weird electrical storm that it was just nuts. It was Pangea who released the Bulls and Roosters LP last year.
Wasn't my cup of tea. Now the thing with the Alkaline Trio is I've always loved the Alkaline Trio. I've been seeing the Alkaline Trio since they were playing like places like the Wayne Firehouse and playing like small clubs and basements around here. I have seen them when they were first on tour and like Super Hungry. I've seen them at a point when they got their first taste of success and were so wasted they couldn't even hold their instruments at the Knitting Factory. I've seen them on like arena tours opening up for larger headlining bands. And now I'm seeing them, which is, I don't know, it's got to be like their 8th record or something. and they got it down pat. They are an incredibly tight live band. They sound great. They put a hell of a set list together. So it's, even though they are releasing a new record, they didn't do the thing where we're going to predominantly play like this new record. Like we're going to play a couple tracks off of it. We know we got a lot of records. We know what people came here to see. So they played a good mix of classics. They played a good mix of like really deep cut classics and some newer stuff as well. So I'm actually really excited for the new Alkaline Trio record.
The big question is,
Yes.
did you wear guy liner?
George, no, you don't want to wear guy liner
Or did
anymore.
you just go and wear that like band of chocolate? Like
I did
around,
not. I did not wear the Furiosa band of chocolate. We talked about this. We're not talking about that time. Of my
I'm
life
just
anymore.
asking if you dipped back in. You were going to
I would
Alkaline
never
Trio.
dip back in. I'm wearing like
Did
big
you
boy
wear a
pants
ruffled
now.
shirt?
Ruffled shirt, yes,
No,
yes.
I didn't wear a ruffled shirt. I would only wear a ruffled shirt out to like a cool goth show.
Did you flat iron your hair?
No, I don't have enough hair to flat iron anymore.
So I don't know about that. You do have a lot of hair, sir.
It's deceptive. I know.
I also want you to know that the two of us bust you a lot about crafty girls. We get it, but
Jesus
we
Christ.
just want you to know that while crafty girls, kind of like they're your kryptonite, emo girls are way worse. Way worse. Just realize that they aren't actually emo. They just eat the souls of sad emo boys like you.
Are you
I'm
still,
not a sad emo
Are
boy.
you still talking about crafty girls? I thought that was over.
Well, no.
Well, no, there's a Venn diagram, Ken. You have the emo girl, you have the crafty girl, and in the
Yeah.
middle is Eater of Worlds. No, I'm not
was
a sad
told
emo boy.
I was told we can't actually make fun of like his dates and stuff.
No.
We're fully allowed to make fun of just the subjective type of women he likes.
No,
or
that's-
not likes, but like that exist in his world.
George.
But emo girls are bad. Have you ever dated an emo girl?
Yes, I was in a fucking emo band. I am not a sad emo boy
You were in a
anymore, George.
screamo band. That was different than
Well,
emo.
He's a
bands.
happy emo.
It's a little column A, a little column B. I'm not a happy emo. I'm not an unhappy person anymore.
I know, but they eat the souls of any sadness they find. They'll find the sadness even if you don't think it exists.
Jesus Christ.
Just be careful. As a friend, we're just telling you, be careful.
My God.
Emo girls are evil. We need to find him a lawyer. Anyway,
He needs a corporate gal.
he needs a corporate gal.
A
He does.
classy
He
woman.
does. He does. Work is
Dresses
a good
nice,
place.
has a good salary.
So this is why it'd be good if you actually
my
went
God.
to an office. No, we shouldn't do this. I feel bad.
No,
We don't want to.
yes.
But if you went to a
He
corporate
doesn't want to
office,
hear it.
I
you could find a more corporate woman.
Or a corporate bar in the city. Like, go to the city and hang out at a corporate bar. Put your suit on.
That's so sad, though. That's so sad.
guys.
I mean, that's how you meet a
Dating
corporate
today,
girl.
I just want to let you guys know that
What else we have to talk about?
I, as a married man, feel for both of you, and just
I
know
don't give
that
an R.A. If some girl wants to be with me, come be with me. If you don't, sayonara.
it's tough where you like
It
Randy
sucks.
Orton also greet people by touching your penis and then making them shake your hand.
You know,
George,
it
what the hell
sucks.
are you
It sucks
talking
to be
about?
alone, but you just make do.
All right, let's
The
pull,
Disney app? Do you want to talk about
Let's
the Disney app?
pull the episode back from the sadness brink and let's talk about something
The
like
Disney app?
productive. The Disney app.
The Disney app.
The Disney app.
Okay, so we don't even know what this means, but Disney's looks like they're pulling all their movies off of Netflix and other assorted odd streaming services in hopefully anticipation of their Disney streaming service. Is this bad or is this good?
I think it's bad, and I'll tell you why I think it's bad. I think that for as much as I understand why Disney would need to do an app like this, because they just bought 20th Century Fox, they have all these other properties, including like James Bond. They have the aliens. They have what's the Pandora people? What is it? Avatar.
Avatar.
They have everything now. So they need a place to house it and they need a place to store it. That said, like I think about like every month I pay for Hulu, I pay for Netflix, I have my Amazon instant streaming that I get because I'm an Amazon member. I pay for the WWE app. It's like how many apps are
That's
people?
your fault.
Yes, Ken, it is my fault. But how many apps are people going to buy
So I will say, and
to get their
Do
content?
you like the WWE app?
both of you are. That's an awesome app. That's
it's worth
possibly
every
the best
penny.
app.
I mean, then the
Shut your
Disney
mouth,
app
Ken.
could be
Shut
good
your
for
mouth.
people who like Disney.
Well, the question about all right, stop. You guys are screwing my head up right now, and I'm tired. There are two things going on here. First of all, there's the conversation of this is what was going to happen when you cut the cord. It's all the apps fucking get too expensive.
Yeah.
Then you have 20 apps and you're paying more than you'd be paying for cable. That's a problem. It's not you. It's just what we knew would happen when all apps were $9.99 a month.
CBS TV has a fucking app now. Like, how many apps are you going to
Exactly.
get? It's going to become more expensive than
Well,
cable.
it is you. Then do stuff the pirate way. Figure it out. Do some finagling.
Because we do not promote. Oh yeah, whatever. We don't care. Anyway, the other thing is the Disney app. I find it weird that are you going to have a Disney app for kids that are going to have the cartoons, and then we're going to put the Avengers stuff, and we're going to put the Fox stuff in
I'm
Logan.
sure there'll be parental controls that they have on Netflix, where it's like, hey, if you don't want your kids to see like Aliens, make sure you click this box so they can't see like chest bursters.
Meanwhile, the Marvel Unlimited app, which by the way, I must thank you and Josh Goldfarb, you got me back into reading comics.
Right.
I'm now reading a lot of comics. It's
stuff.
kind of scary, but I'm reading comic books now, and I've realized there's no parental control on the Marvel Unlimited app, which means none of the Max titles are in there, like Alias, like Punisher, like
Right.
And it's just like, come on, guys, I get it. If you're going to do that, go that route. I think there's going to be 2 different apps. I think it's going to be like a D16 or whatever the Disney's adult line of clothing is, or like,
Well, I see,
and then a
that's-
Disney Kids.
They have things that range. That it's too much. They should
Yeah,
just
I
do
could see
one
it.
app with parental controls because they have too much of a range.
You could program it in software where it's controls.
And it's Disney. I'm sure they could come up with the control for it.
Why the Marvel app wouldn't have Epic Comics, or whatever. Was Epic, there was
Max.
their
Timely.
no, but in the 80s, wasn't it Epic was their horror line?
Epic was a horror line.
Yeah, I mean, like, why wouldn't they have all
Terror
that
Inc.
stuff?
No, I think that
Terror
stuff. I think
Inc.
that stuff's on there. He's talking about the Marvel Max stuff that came out with like the Punisher, when he was like cursing.
Yeah.
Garth Ennis.
Punisher. Yeah.
And I'm just getting worried that stuff is going to get lost because Disney is largely a kids company, and I think that's where this makes sense. I'm just not sure. I don't know. But that said, also WWE pulled all their documentaries off Netflix too when they moved them all to the app, even though they didn't really put all of them on the app.
But they're slow rolling things out. But when it hits, it's awesome because that's the kind of thing where like I liked watching those documentaries, and I was wondering why they weren't on the network. Well, now they are.
Finally, one last quickie: American Horror Story Apocalypse.
I checked out of American Horror Story like seasons ago.
I did too, like 3 or 4 seasons, like the clown season, the carnival season.
Too much.
Is Ryan Murphy just like the worst? Like, can he never like get his shit together and write a show that actually has a good beginning, middle, and end?
I actually liked his Scream Queen season 1. Like season 2, like they kind of went back to the well a little too much, and it was kind of they went a little too far with it as far as trying to stretch out the idea of the story. But season 1 of Scream Queens, I would argue, is a fantastic season of television.
I find American Horror Story, it starts really good, really great everything, great actors, great stuff, but then about like episode 8, it needs to end. Instead, it just either right hooks or it drags or something goes wrong.
Well, yeah, his first season of American Horror Story was really good, but you're right, it hit like the back few episodes, and they could have went home with it, and they didn't.
The commercials always look great.
Bates was amazing on it. The actresses on there are incredible.
Aesthetically, they all look really good. He's
New
got a
Orleans
great eye
one,
for it, but the storytelling is kind of...
He just doesn't know how to reel it in the end, and he goes weird, and he goes great. This one's called Apocalypse. I'm excited I would love to watch this. I would love to see what the end of the world through the eyes...
You better.
What'd you say?
You better.
I would like to, but I'm not going to. I don't know. I might feel... I got to
should.
feel this out. There's also... the Sons of Anarchy spin-off Mayans, which we can talk about another episode, which Allison forbids me to watch, but I might have to do it just for this show.
Didn't you guys watch
Sons of Anarchy went so south. It didn't Dexter bad, but it ended pretty bad.
Dexter bad.
No, it didn't Dexter bad. It didn't Dexter bad.
It was a Dexter bad.
Nothing Dexter bad. He died at the end. He was killed in a hail of bullets. A lot different than Dexter becoming a lumberjack. I'm sorry. Nothing's worse than Dexter bad.
I don't know.
Nothing's worse. Anyway, guys, this has been an excellent episode. Ken, we are so happy to have you
It's
back.
nice to be back. Thank you for having
If I'm
me.
with me, who the hell am I?
Yeah, every time you're here, we wonder that about you. But, you're here. It's great. Guys, what cool shit did you fall in love with this week, Hambone?
So I have 2 things.
Yes.
I actually started watching The Americans,
Yes.
and very first episode, I was hooked.
Told you it's not feel bad TV.
No, it's great. I was pleased as punch with
There's
it. So.
only one bad episode. It's the one where the kids get like picked up by a child molester, and I don't know why. That was so weird. It's very early on, like episode 4 of season 1. You can actually just completely skip that episode when you
Yeah,
hit it.
so once I see child molester, skip the episode.
Yeah, that episode's just dumb. I never understood that one.
Yeah, but I'm excited because all the seasons are out. I can watch the complete series, so that's what I'm going to be binging soon.
Really quickly, just so you know, that show I've realized is much better binged because there's a lot of characters, a lot of weird subplots, and if you watch it all together, you don't forget what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and that's what I've heard from other people as well. So I'm excited about it. The other thing is, before I came here, it got announced that the End of the Fucking World season 2 got approved. Same director.
You're not happy about this, though, right? Didn't you say you didn't want this to ever be a sequel to this?
I didn't, but now I'm curious because at first I didn't think it was going to happen, and I was completely happy with it. Now I want to see what they're going to do with it because it's kind of. It took them a while to come to this. Like, most things on Netflix get approved like right away. It's like, oh, season 1 is done. You got a season 2, no problem. It took them like a year to approve a season 2. So I'm curious to see what they've been up to for a year, that they're not rushing it.
Ken, what cool shit did you discover this year? You must have found something awesome at Monster Mania.
Well, I'll say before Monster Mania, I got a Shield TV, and I love that damn thing. That thing is awesome. We'll talk about it on
What's
another
a Shield
episode.
TV?
It's the NVIDIA Android box.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's really super awesome, like kind of streaming device, gaming device, fun emulation device. But Monster Mania was awesome. I met the real Charles Moran there. Not
The
our,
other Charles
the
Moran.
other Charles Moran was
Really?
there.
You
And actually,
found him?
I follow him online, and also he said he was going to be there, and actually bought a piece of merch from him, something that he made. And,
That is awesome.
It was awesome seeing him, and Monster Mania. I got a lot of cool stuff. I have a pretty nice thick swag bag and a nice wallet full of singles.
That's not the only thing we hear you have to.
No, I am Italian.
George.
Like a donkey we hear.
Do you know, I was at Alkaline Trio, and a friend of mine who I have not seen in years, but I know listens to the show, he was there, and I didn't see him, and from behind I heard, George! And I turned my head,
Great.
and I looked, and it was my buddy Chris, and he's like, I love Mai Tai Happy Hour. He's like, I figured you'd know if I just shouted out George. And I was like,
That is awesome.
No, you know what's frustrating? Not frustrating, but weird when I'm at work and some rando like account manager from a major manufacturer comes up to me and goes, I love Iron Maiden and I love Cult of George and I love Mai Tai Happy Hour. And
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
oh, shit.
So I
That
thought
is
you
great.
get a kick out of that. So I heard George,
Yeah.
and I turned around because like someone walked over my grave. Like, who said that?
That's great.
And it was my buddy. He listens to it at work. So he's like, his summer work is different. So he's looking forward to getting back to it when he goes back to his regular shifts in September. He's like, it's great because now I have a bunch of episodes I could just listen to while I'm working.
I hope all the listeners are happy to hear me. I love all the listeners. They're all great. And I want all the listeners to know that. And George, what did you find awesome
If you didn't
this
come,
week?
if you didn't come this week, I was going to try to find a good way to kill you off, but I never
Can't
actually
kill
came up
me.
with it. It was tough. I was trying to
Can't
come up
kill
with
me.
like
I sold my soul.
we would have done a Hall tribute episode to you, just like
Adam Cole him?
like Chris Benoit. Like it would have been just like
Oh
Chris
no,
Benoit.
Adam called me. Don't Chris Benoit me.
We're gonna Chris Benoit you.
See, we agree to disagree.
Yeah, no. Anyway, also this week I am up to movie number 4 of Harry Potter.
Oh wow, look at you. You never seen them?
No, and I've been doing it.
They're fun.
Yes. Well, okay. 1, horrible.
Yeah,
It was not bad. It was
I
a bad
agree.
movie. It
I
was a
don't
bad
think
movie.
1 was terrible.
It's terrible.
It's not great.
2, I actually thought it was better than what you sold it as.
Yeah.
I thought
like
they
2.
I thought they tried very good. I thought it was very Conan the Barbarian or Conan. Yes, very. It felt a lot like that scene when what's his name James Earl Jones turns into the snake and like.
Yes.
What's 2? Goblet of Fire?
Yeah.
So 2 is okay.
No.
I don't know. Don't ask me that. I know 3 was The Prisoner.
Of Azkaban.
Yes.
Which is great because it's our main.
4 is Goblet of
4
Fire.
is Goblet
watching
of Fire.
now.
4 is
Yeah.
Goblet of
I
Fire.
don't remember what 2 was. 2 is okay. 3, you're right. Goes dark, gets a budget, completely different.
Yeah, changes.
Really enjoyed that. I thought the storyline was very good. Then we're 4, and 4 turns into the Hunger Games. So here's my complaint about here's my complaint about the Harry Potter movies so far.
Right.
And you're right. As they go, I'm getting more into it. I'm enjoying them more.
Oh, totally. You get more and more hooked.
But I'm finding that it's like kind of episodic, and I realize it's because they have a new director every movie except for the first 2.
From I think 5 on is the same director.
Because it really hurts it. Because they're clearly
Yeah.
my complaint about Guardians of the Galaxy is
course.
that it's almost like episodic TV. The second movie just didn't stand. It stood on its own, but it only stood on its own. There really was no segue.
So once David Yates takes over, it's a completely different franchise, and it gets much better.
like I really liked the third one. I looked up the director. Like they asked me to do that one. They never asked me to do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so
Because Chris Columbus did the first 2, and it's amazing because it's the same director, but 1 and 2 are completely different movies. 3 is a different movie. 4 is a different movie. I think from 5 on is when David Yates signs on, and then it gets really good.
I mean, 4 is like the bad Hunger Games. Like it's almost like I don't want to compare it to Battle Royale. It's more like the Hunger Games. I don't quite understand what the point of it is. Also, these movies are bloated. They're bloated hard. They're like 340, 245.
Well, yeah, because they're based off like 700-page books.
I know, but for someone who's never read the books, and look,
And they're trying to squeeze in like as
much.
much, because everyone's like, oh, the book's better than the movie. Well, they're trying to squeeze as much as they can from the book and the
So-
movie.
There's
But
a lot of side stories.
But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I want to tell you that we are enjoying it. It takes us the whole weekend to do a movie. Like
Oh, yeah, of
that's how
course.
it's rough. Like it's rough, and because we start falling asleep, and I'm like, Friday's a good night to start it, but like I never finished it. And this week we didn't actually finish 4 because we started wrestling took over our lives.
Oh, yeah, man, come
I
on.
might actually restart the whole movie because I completely forgot what happened in
I
it.
like all those movies.
I'm not
you
s-
wouldn't think I would, but I do.
It's great. It's great stuff.
They're fun.
I no way I want you to think I'm bashing Harry Potter. We're doing this because I want to go to Harry
No,
Potter.
I mean they're
World.
all
Yeah.
not perfect, but there is like they're fun movies.
It's just
It's a good story.
They're just so different. It's
Yeah.
not. I thought it was
It is,
one
but,
story.
you
So
know.
so visually they all start looking the same. Like there's a consistency starting with
Yeah,
5
there
on.
is.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8 is.
So anyway, Harry Potter, I love it. It's great stuff. Once again, we can't recommend Castle Rock more. Ken, if you haven't, try to find it somewhere. You do the
shit,
pirate
it's
stuff
Tuesday.
you do.
Yeah, I got the Shield TV. I got everything.
Just watch Castle Rock. It's some of the best Stephen King work
I was
you
so
will
excited
ever see.
because I thought today was Wednesday and I was going to go home and watch it tonight, but I was wrong.
I was excited to kick you guys out just so I can watch that, but instead we'll watch
SmackDown.
SmackDown. Anyway, guys, great to see you again. Let's go through the show. Actually, no, let's give you new music. Let's give you hey, Ken, how can the kids reach you?
Oh my God, you're giving them Don's music?
Oh man, Don's gonna be pissed. But you should only follow me at Zombie Gentleman.
Zombie Gentleman.
Yeah,
Zombie-
Instagram, Facebook, but more on Instagram.
I
and
think you should follow Curse too. His music stuff is great. He's
yeah,
underselling
we're gonna go.
himself.
We might. Yeah, I might start selling some beats, and I would like to record again. So we'll see what happens. But follow Zombie Gentleman.
Follow the Zombie Gentleman, people. Never forget that. Never forget that. Hambone, the Informer, the Snow, the White
Oh my
Goblin,
God.
Hamburglar. How can we get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at Hamburger, where I pretty much just tweet about the Bullet Club, pro wrestling, cute animals, and Dungeons and Dragons. You can check out my other podcast, the Vintage RPG Podcast, everywhere where you download podcasts from. That's it.
Don't you have more?
No,
You have more stuff, don't you?
no, it's just,
Whatever happened to Wax Packs?
Wax
thing?
packs.
oh, I got it. That just
No,
was.
I don't know what wax packs is. I don't know why I agreed to say something. I have no idea what that is. I am George. You can reach me at GLK Creative on Instagram, GLK Creative on the Twitters. You can reach me at cultofgeorge.com, where you can find the entire archive of Mai Tai Happy Hours and the old Mai Tai TVs. We undersell them. That's some of the best TV you are
They're
going to
funny.
watch. They're funny. They're funny. They're brutal. Because
brutal.
Hambone has bad memories because those were
You
the
insult
part-
so many guests.
it is so.
I have no memories
Go
because we
watch
drank a
them.
Go
lot
back
of
and watch
rum.
them. It's worth watching, and pick your favorites so we can make it a greatest hits episode.
It's so good.
Guys, it's amazing knowing you. It's great seeing you. Please rate, review, subscribe to this show. Rate, review, and subscribe. Let us know if you would like to splinter off this show into a wrestling sub show as well. What's the name we're thinking of?
Painkillers and pile drivers.
Painkillers and pile drivers. I know
look
that
at
one's
you.
growing on me. That's growing on me.
I'm full of good
Either
ideas.
way, I am George. That is Ken. That is Hambone. Hambone, take us out.
Everybody remember, be nice. Aloha.
Da-da-da-da.